Silver Bros podcast. Second episode already. Man, time flies, huh?
Oh, it sure does.
So, what's new in your neck of the woods, West Texas?
Not a whole lot, man. Really, not a whole lot. Just kind of waiting it out for Christmas, you know?
I hear you. I'm with you there, man. I definitely have not been spending as much with the Christmas season coming here. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only less than 2 weeks away now.
Oh, man, not just that, the price. The price just
Well,
keeps going.
that's an that's another that's another sore topic. I mean,
Oh,
it,
man.
I'm happy that it's going up. You know, it's been manipulated for many, many, many a years, and it's about time that silver started showing its potential. But I mean, it needs to settle down and find its new floor. I mean, it's all over the place right now. You know, like I said, it skipped the 30s, 40s, 50s. Now it was teetering back and forth from 63 and 64 today.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw when it hit 64, and it wasn't just at 64 and some loose change. It was
I
it
64.
looked like it was pushing, yeah, it was high 64. I was
Yeah,
like,
dude.
wow.
It's crazy. I've never, ever seen anything like it. You know, in the 12 years I've been stacking, I've never, ever seen gold and silver do what it's doing now. And a part of me, a big part of me is happy, but a big part of me is, a little disappointed also. Like I said, it's not like I'm offloading and selling, because I'd be pretty happy if I'm selling, but I'm still stacking. I plan on stacking until, I'm an old man, so, it's not like, I'm offloading my silver. I've been stacking 30, 40 years now and I want to sell. I've been stacking for 12 and I continue to stack for another. I want to continue to stack for another 20, 30, 40 years if I can,
Yeah.
and 64, man, 10-ounce bar today, 10-ounce silver bar today is costing you 640. And that's at spot. That's spot
That's
for a 10-ounce silver bar.
That's wild, man. That is wild. I mean,
Yeah,
I jumped in it a few years ago, and I think I was paying, 230, 240 for a 10-ounce bar.
that's what I'm saying. I did a video today and about how I've been stacking 5-ounce bars, how they've been I'd say since the last month, since silver's been going crazy, 5-ounce bars have been my go to bar. And I never
Yeah.
stacked 5-ounce bars. I've always stacked 10 ounces, kilos. If I wanted smaller sizes, I would do, Eagles, Maples, Britannias, or I would, buy 90%. But when it came to like bars, it was always 10 ounce and kilos. Well, now I'm down to like 10 ounces and 5 ounces, but mostly 5 ounces. And it's just crazy. Just, I wouldn't even say a year ago, around springtime, between April and June, a 10-ounce silver bar was between 3 and 350. That is what a 5-ounce bar is going for 6 to 8 months later. Let that sink in.
Yeah. What the? I was just going to look up SD Bullion and see, because I know we love shopping there so much.
Oh man, they're
It,
probably
it says
750 for a 10-ounce there.
their website is currently undergoing routine maintenance.
Yeah, because it's probably adjusting too quick.
Yeah.
A
I
lot of
mean, they're,
sites, a lot of sites are kind of like uh lagging because the prices are just they're all over the place. So these a lot of these bullion sites, I've noticed I was on there just before our stream here, and I was gonna add a 5-ounce bar to the cart, and it wouldn't let me when I went to go purchase it and programmed everything. It wouldn't let me, and I'd have to go back because the price adjusted again, and then the price dropped. It wouldn't let me freaking fulfill the order
yeah.
because the price is all over the place. Crazy.
Wow. And Atmex, 5-ounce bar is as low as price $344.70.
Yeah, crazy, man.
Less than a year ago, less than a year ago, that's more than what we were paying for a 10-ounce bar.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I used to buy 10-ounce bars for as low as $200 at one point. Um, and then for many years, the price between 10-ounce bars were between like 240 and I'd say 300, and it sat like that between that bracket for years. And now you want a 10-ounce bar, you're spending almost $700. It's crazy. And another thing, with the prices going so high, I don't see how anyone is buying any bullion right now from online dealers,
Yeah.
because these online dealers, even the best online dealers, even the sites that I shop from, they are still asking $2 to $3 to $4 over spot on their bullion, from their rounds to their 10-ounce bars. With the prices being so high today, I wouldn't recommend anyone buying silver over spot. You can go to local coin shops right now, they're selling bullion for spot. 10-ounce
Yeah.
bars for spot price, rounds for spot price. The only thing you're going to pay a little over would probably be eagles and stuff. But they're selling regular generic bullion, 10-ounce bars, kilo bars, 5-ounce bars for spot. But these online bullion dealers, they're still asking $2, $3, $4 over spot on regular bullion,
Yeah.
regardless of how you pay. If you use a credit card, if you pay a wire transfer or check or debit, they're still asking a premium over on the bullion. But if you go on these sites like Atmex, it's crazy. If you go on Atmex will buy your silver. There's a buyback program.
Yeah.
They're buying it back way under spot, way under spot. But they're still selling the generic, all their generic, for $2 to $3 to $4, some $5 over spot. It's crazy. I wonder if anyone's actually buying from them right now, because I mean, it's different if you don't have a local coin shop, but local coin shops right now, you can get bullion for spot.
Yeah. And if not exactly spot, it's going to be maybe a, a dollar over, where here on these things, they're a few bucks anyhow.
Well, Greg just said Pimbacks is the cheapest 5-ounce at 323. See, at 323, that's practically spot, because a 5-ounce bar at $64 is 320. So Pimbacks at 323, that's a good price. That's a really good price.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And I tend to never look at Pembex. I don't know why.
They
I think it's
they popped up a few years ago, just before I, took my break from YouTube. I started seeing some content creators plug in them.
yeah.
And the only thing that I thought was interesting, I guess they follow the market. So, like, during the weekends, you can't purchase from them. I guess it's
Uh-huh.
only Monday through Friday. But I
I never
never,
heard that.
yeah. And then when I went on their site at the time, this was 2 years ago, I didn't really see any better deals. But I've noticed now, like I say, I always shop around when even though I've been frequent with local coin shops and local dealers more lately. But I've noticed online, I still shop around to see whatever the cheapest site is, or cheapest option is, as of online dealers. But Pinbacks is a good site. I haven't bought much from them, but I've seen some good deals. I mean, Greg said that 5-ounce silver bars are going for 323. That's a good price.
That's not a bad price at all. I'm looking right now. I can't really see any. But as you know, like I said, I'm hardly ever on this site, so maybe I'm not navigating it right.
Yeah,
But you know, for a 1 ounce silver bar, it's $66.32. Man,
yeah.
you know, I was watching somebody's video today. I don't know who put it out. I don't remember, but they said that a lot of people were saying that they're being priced out of silver, and that's just not. You know, it's not so much that we're being priced out; it's that we can't buy as much as we used to.
Yeah.
So, like you said, people that were buying the 10 ounce bars, you know, before now they're buying the 5 ounce bars.
Well, that's like, it's not like it's exactly what you said. It's just people are changing up their strategies.
Hmm.
Like, all right, I've started stacking 5-ounce bars, which I've never stacked before. Even when silver was 25, 14, $15 an ounce, I never stacked 5-ounce bars. But now, with the prices, I've been changing up my strategy. Now, I still bought 15 ounces of silver this week. I bought those two 5-ounce bars. I got the one from the coin shop, the one I bought from Silver Ocean's auction, and then I bought that 5-ounce steak quarter
Yeah,
from the antique shop I went to. So I bought 15 ounces, but I got three different things. Like now, you walk into a coin shop, you spend $700 or you spend like I'm saying 700, but 650 for a 10-ounce bar. You're walking out with one thing, so it makes it a
yeah,
little more fun spending that $600 and walking out with two 5-ounce bars. You know what I mean? Because it just you know it's a mind thing, man. Because us, being stacking for so long, we used to walk into a coin shop with $1,000 and walk out with a ton of silver. So like now you walk in with the same money and you're lucky if you walk out with 14 ounces. So it's like a mind game.
definitely, it definitely is. You know, and like I said, we've been kind of on hold for a while, and it's funny because I was just talking to my wife's aunt. You know, they were while she was cooking, they were on the phone, and I was telling her, you know, what the price of silver was at. That's because in the beginning, when we first started stacking, she was like, "Well, that's not very smart. What are you guys going to do when it goes to, you know, if it goes lower?" And I said, "I don't know. We'll worry about that later." But anyhow, she
It'll
says, "And I wish I would have started buying it." And I asked
it'll
her, I said,
never
"Well,
go
it's never
lower.
too late." Yeah, I said, "It's never too late." And she says, "I know, but you know, at these high prices, you know, what if it does go down?" I
Yeah.
mean, it's been climbing so fast, and that's the like you said earlier, that's the scary part. It's been climbing so fast that eventually it's gonna have to come back down a little bit.
Yeah. And then, there's two arguments with that, with the whole climbing so fast. So you'll have people that argue, well, it didn't climb fast for many, many years. Now it's
Yeah.
finally going up to its real value. You'll have that type of argument. And then you'll have the argument where, like me, yes, I do believe silver was manipulated for many years. I do believe that it was never at its true value for many years. But I also, and it's good to see it go up, but it's also to a point now where it's skipped the 30s, 40s, 50s, and it's practically going to skip the 60s at this rate. Where is the new floor? It needs to settle down and find its new floor. We had it while I was stacking for 12 years, at least 10 years of it, there was a floor for silver. There was a floor for gold. The floor for silver was between 14 to $25 an ounce. The floor for gold was about $1,500 to $2,500 an ounce. And it was like that for 10 years, up and down, up and down, up and down. It wouldn't go below 14. It wouldn't go above, well, it went above 25 a few times, but then it jumped back down. But it always had a floor. Like what I would have rather see during this, the last year here was silver jump up to the 30s, jump up to the 40s, possibly high 40s, and then found its new floor and said, all right, I like it. between the 40 and 50 mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now it's going crazy. And then like I know a lot of people too, like, oh, I wish I started stacking when it was this, and then you have the argument, oh, it's never too late, it's never too late. Um, it's gonna be a lot late for a lot of people because you got to think the average American makes between 60 to 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
You know, and that's depending on state. Southern states, Midwest states, they make less because it's also cheaper down there. Um, most Americans are not going to be able to afford buy $100 an ounce for silver. Most Americans can't even save $100 or have $1,000 emergency fund in their bank. There's going to come to a point where a lot of Americans, and I know there's not many stackers out there now, but there's going to be a point where a lot of Americans that want to get into stacking that can't because they can't afford it.
Yeah. Or they're going to stack an ounce a month or an ounce every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, whatever they can. I mean, yeah,
We're going to have to save for it.
yeah. But yeah, something's got to happen, man. Like again, I'm happy to see it climb, but not this quick. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
really
it's outpacing gold by, I mean, God, gold's still hanging around around what it was last week.
yeah,
Silver's up $6 more.
yeah. And another thing that the people don't keep in mind, like there's some pumpers here in the community, and listen, I love silver and gold. I believe in it 100%, but I'm a realist. Um, you get some of these people here, and they're like, "Oh, silver's gonna hit 100. Silver's gonna hit 100. Silver's gonna hit 100," and I believe it. At this point, I mean, we just skipped through a bunch of numbers. We're already midway through the 60s. For all we know, silver could be 100 next month. But what scares me, these coin shops and these dealers, they're the more silver goes up, the less they pay. The less they pay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sell my silver for less than spot. I want to sell if I'm going to cash out on my silver, I don't care if I paid $10 an ounce for my silver. I don't care if I paid $25 an ounce for my silver or if I spent $40 an ounce for my silver. When the time comes and I offload my silver, I want spot. Certain things, over spot, whatever, but I at least want the worth of silver. These coin shops and every dealer right now is paying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back of spot.
Yeah.
So when silver hits 100 and it hits it quick, say in the next few months here, are they going to be paying you $50 an ounce? How much more is it going to go back on
That's
spot?
I've seen that. I've noticed that.
Yeah,
They're buying $5, $6 back a spot, and they're still turning around and selling for a dollar over or $2
exactly.
over some
Yeah, and
places. That's just
that's the
wild.
thing too, where I'm telling people, if you're going to buy silver bullion with these current prices, don't buy anything over spot price. If they're going to buy it back from you for 3, 4, if you go to a coin shop, say, and you say, hey, you just ask, what are you paying on bullion? Oh, we're paying 5 back. Oh, 5 back per spot. Or they'll say percentages. They'll be like 95% or 90%, the worth
Yeah,
of the bullion. Like the coin shop by me, they're paying 95%. So that ends up being like $3 to $4 back, right?
yeah,
And then you ask them, you turn around and ask them, hey, what are you selling your generic on? And his prices are much better than the coin shops, much better than the coin shops. Like I said, much better than the bullion sites. Let me correct that. Bullion sites. On all his bullion, no matter if it's vintage, rare, whatever, he's asking $2. And then he has a bin where he's got like rounds and bars for $1 over spot. They're selling online for, like I said, $3, $4, $5, $6 over spot. It's crazy. I'm surprised if anyone's buying, and I'm sure there are people buying, but I'm shocked that they are at paying over spot with the current prices. But I told them because I'm friends with the coin shop. I got a good relationship. I said, well, if you're buying $4 to $5 back, and then you're selling for two. I mean, even though that's a good price, that's compared to online dealers. That's a really good price. But I don't want to pay any more than spot, and you're still making money. So he hooks me up and he gives me spot prices.
Yeah.
But it's that's crazy. I understand they got to make money. They're in a business, and right now it's hard to make money with the current prices. That's why they're buying below spot and selling it for very little over spot or spot, so they have money, so they can make money and move stuff. Because right now nobody's buying stuff over spot price. They can barely afford spot price itself. So people that are buying right now, they are looking for good deals. But who's to say? Silver goes up to $80 next week or in a few weeks here. How much more back are they going to pay? You
Mrs.
know,
is thinking. The missus is thinking. What are you thinking? 75 before the end of the year. The price of silver. Yeah, she's saying 75 before or 70.
ah,
I'm looking on AppMex's site at the 1 ounce bars. A lot of this stuff is
they're asking $70 for it now on the AppMex. I'm sure.
available. Not even available. It's available December shipping date. They're on a slight delay, but we were talking about buying back, right? And I've noticed something, and I'm not going to call out the online dealer, but back in not too long ago, when you would click on one of their bars and see how much it cost, you just scroll down a little further and it would give you the buyback, and it would say sell to us price, and they used to give the price right there, and now it went from telling you how much they would buy it back from you to you got to call them,
Yeah, because they
which
don't want to. They don't want to insult people.
yeah.
They don't want to. They don't want to throw it out there because then people will realize, oh, so you're buying it for this and you're selling $3, $4 over spot. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's one thing if they're buying back $4 or $5 back. You know what I mean? And then they sell for
Yeah.
spot and they sell for spot or a dollar under spot. They're still making $2, $3 per ounce. But don't get greedy. Because
This you're gonna crack up at this one. So that Beskar bar, that Mandalorian Beskar bar,
oh, I hate those. The
uh,
worst
the
mistake
one
ever.
out the 1 ounce bars, Atmex has them for $75.99.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that's insane if you ask me.
Yeah. And next week it'll be $90. I
So if
guarantee you
you,
silver's gonna keep climbing. It doesn't seem like it's
yeah,
gonna stop or anything settle. I thought um, last week there was gonna be a correction.
uh,
Um, and it happened for like a day. It dropped down a little bit, but then it just skyrocketed back up. So I don't know. I'm done predicting right now. All I know is it's on its way to 100 and it's probably going to be there soon. So people get ready, or hopefully you guys stacked enough.
yep. You
you
know,
know?
this is the kind of stuff that, as a content creator, this is the kind of stuff that I would want to. And I mean, I've always been, buy what you like, and it's your money, you stack what you want. But when you go on here and you see these prices like this for this, like just this Mandalorian bar, I mean, 75.98. That's checker wire. A lot of new stackers don't really know about the checker wire, so they'll just buy with the debit card.
Most online buyers are using debit cards or credit cards or
Yeah,
PayPal.
or
That's just
PayPal.
how it is. I've
So
explained
now
to
it
you
goes.
too.
So now it goes to $79.15.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing,
Ye
you gotta know where you're shopping. Some sites
Yeah,
really hammer you when they're some bullion sites really hammer you if you use a credit card. Like AppMix is one of them, SD is one of them. But then there's a lot of sites that isn't much off the credit card price and the
yeah,
check price. You can get them really close. But if you have a good credit card and you're on time with it every month, you know what I mean? Like I said, when I buy online, I use my credit card. I get points, for that extra $5 I spent on the 10-ounce or 5
yeah,
ounce bar. I get it back with points, hotel stays, cash back, miles, and it continues to build my credit. So, I don't have a problem with that. Plus, the most important thing, if that package doesn't get to my house or something happens, I can call the credit card company up and say, "Hey, I didn't get this package," and they'll refund the money the same day. I'll call my bank up and it'll take them 3 months. There'll be an investigation. They'll have to close down the card and I can't use the card while there's an investigation. And maybe they'll give me a credit in the time being, and then decide
yeah,
months later if it was legit or if it was fake or whatever. But mostly, like I said, lately I just go to coin shops. It's much better deals. Uh, they'll work with you. You know what you're getting. You're paying cash and it's just better pricing. Like I said, I don't understand how any of these online dealers are selling their bullion right now, because, like I said, they're asking way over spot price. I mean, $3, $4 is way too much over spot right now.
right now, yeah,
Anything over spot right now is crazy. I hear some content creators are like, "Oh, 90% cheap online. It's dollar under spot on 90%." That's not cheap. You can get 90%. Like I said, I bought when silver was sitting at 51, believe it or not, that was only like a week ago.
yeah,
I bought, 500 face value and $50 in dimes, and I spent 36 it was came out to 35 ounces of silver, and I spent 36.26 per ounce, so I don't know. It's crazy. And it's good to see. And I've stacked a lot of silver and a lot of gold through the years. I'm very happy where I'm at with this stack. It's not like I haven't stacked enough, but it's just like saving. I look at it like you have some people that are like, "Oh, be grateful for what you have."
yeah,
Blah, blah. And yeah, I am grateful. And, everyone should be grateful for what you have, regardless if it's 5 ounces or if you have 1,000 ounces. You know, at least you got it. That's all that matters. But when you save your money, let's not talk about gold and silver. When you're saving, your life, right? When you get out and you start working, you're out of school, you start working. The goal is to save your money, right? Save your money so
yeah,
you can have a future. You can have a beautiful house. Your kids are taken care of. Your wife's taken care of. You can go on vacations. You're financial secured, right? You have money. You don't have to struggle. That's the goal, right? Just saving, saving, saving. Whatever you can, you save. I look at gold and silver the same way. It's money I'm putting into a savings account, right? Now I have
yeah,
obviously money in a savings, but gold and silver is a legit savings because it's real money, right? I put my savings into gold and silver. So it's never enough, especially when you have 5 kids and you have, a house and it ain't easy. So you keep saving and saving and saving. Well, it's going to get harder to save and save and save in gold and silver when silver's 100 an ounce and gold's 10,000 an ounce. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's not about that, oh, I haven't stacked enough. It's the fact that, have I saved enough for only being 30 years old, having 5 kids, have I saved enough? You know what I mean? And it's never enough. It's never enough.
no,
Because
and that's kind of the stacker's mentality, more, 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 and, this is like our catch 22, we wanna see our stack value go up, but we also wanna keep adding to it,
Exactly. And listen, I'm not worried about the silver and gold price right now.
No.
I'm not worried about it because I'm not selling it yet. I'm not at the age or at the spot where I want to sell it. When I want to sell it, then that's when I'm going to worry if the price is high. That's when I want the price to be high. And that goes for everybody, right? When you're still
Yeah.
buying, anybody that's in this chat that's still buying, they don't want to buy silver at 100 an ounce. They don't really want to buy silver at $66 an ounce. They rather buy silver at the prices just a few months ago where it was in the 30s, or 20s. Um, so I,
That's crazy, man, because, I paid more than likely one of these buffaloes right here. I paid probably $21 an ounce for it,
yeah,
and now it's 64.
that's what I'm saying. I just when I'm ready to
I mean,
sell.
it did a hell of a lot better than if I'd have had just put that money in a savings account,
Well, look at it this way:
with the
that
interest rate.
when you bought that, if you kept that $21 in cash instead of putting it in silver, and say that was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah,
That $21 3 years ago now is probably $18
yeah,
buying power. That silver obviously is now $64. And that's the whole purpose why we put our money into gold and silver. It's not
yep.
a traditional investment. It's more like a long term, a conservative, an insurance, a savings invest. It's a lot of things, but it's a lot better putting your money in precious metals than it is in cash. And obviously, everyone needs to have a little cash on the side. But you don't want to have to cash in your assets or anything that's in any of your investments or anything like that. But you know, it's just I'm not worried about it until I'm going to sell it. When I sell it, it's when I want to see it high. I want to see the price continue to climb, but it just sucks buying silver at $64 an ounce. That's it. And then someone could say, "Oh, well, why are you buying? Don't buy then. Just sit and wait." No, because a stacker, you always buy. You find the deals, you dollar cost average, you buy, you buy, you buy. You know?
I asked Mrs. this question one day. I said, if we won the lottery, would we still stack? And she says, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
we
I
won
would.
the Mega Millions, and I was thinking, I probably would, but it would take some of the challenge out of it, and
I
that's a
would
part
still.
of it too. I like that challenge of it. That
I would
that
still.
star metal bar you picked up,
Yeah,
freaking beautiful, and that's
yeah.
that's the other thing about stacking that's so much fun is you never know when you walk in, you never know what you're gonna find,
If
And
I
yeah,
won the
nickel, I am eating nickel. Sorry, man, I'm having dinner.
he didn't eat dinner yet. Let him eat. But yeah, if you asked me that question too, and if I won the Mega Millions or the Powerball, whatever, I would still stack because regardless, you got to think. Say you won $1 billion, right? I think the last big Powerball was like 1.7. All
Yeah,
said and done, after they take the tax and they up your bracket, and if you take the one lump sum, which I would do, I would never take in payments because if you die, say you take the payments a month or whatever. If you die, that doesn't go to your wife or your kids. They just stop paying it. It doesn't go. It
yep,
doesn't pass on. So I would always take the lump payment, even if it's less. But say 1.7 billion, I think you're getting like $700 million, which is still a lot of money.
that is a
But
lot of money.
that is a lot of money. Trust me, my kids, my family, we would be set for life. But I would probably, I would start a trust fund. I would invest most of it. I would take a little bit of cash, to have around, maybe 100,000 just to have in cash. But I would still stack, absolutely, because you know what? At the end of the day, it's still cash. It's still money. Gold and silver
Yep,
is ultimate. Gold and silver is number one. That's the number one asset. It's been money. It's been a currency for thousands of years. It's been the true wealth, the true backing of everything. I mean, it's once America stepped away from the gold and silver is when our dollar started becoming crap. Yeah, it's still on top of everybody else. Our dollar's still king compared to any other country, but it's still not as strong as it used to be. But I would always stack gold and silver, and yeah, it probably wouldn't be as fun because you're working harder towards to get that 5 ounce or that 10 ounce bar, and then you get it. And when you have that money, you can just freaking order monster boxes at a time. But it
You
would
could
still
walk
be
into
fun.
you could walk into any coin shop and just pick out what whatever coin or any you can pick out anything. Be like, yeah, I'll take you know 10 of those
Oh yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. I would go nuts.
gold buffaloes and be like, yeah, just give me a tube of them.
Yeah, I would go nuts. I would go. Did you see a few years ago where they this guy from Texas, go figure, go big or go small, right? Go big or go home,
Yeah.
right? um, he walked into a coin shop and ordered like so many silver eagles that the U.S. Mint announced it. It was something crazy. I think Polybook did a video on it, but the guy spent like $500 million or something on silver eagles. They had to
Wow.
get monster boxes from other coin shops across the country, and it was crazy. I have to find it and show you. But yeah, that guy is a multi-millionaire, billionaire, and he spent crazy amount of money.
You know, I was looking through the local news and there's an article on the U.S. Mint. At first, I thought it was a commercial, like an ad that popped up, but it was the news. Local news ran a story on the U.S. Mint and all the coins they're going to put out, and I thought that's odd. I've never seen them do this.
Yeah,
It's just more and more people are hearing about it with these high prices, and
yeah.
I just hope that. I mean, I really hope that it doesn't go crashing down in a way because I don't want all these people to feel like they got burned.
Well, that's the thing too that you worry about. Like, all right, now you got the people stacking and a bunch of people getting into it because that's what always happens. When silver and gold is high, that's when all these new people start getting into it because they're afraid of
Yeah,
missing out. They got that FOMO.
FOMO.
It's kind of like the Black Friday sale when they're selling that one thing that everybody wants and there's only four freaking items on the shelf. You get 1,000 people running in the doors. It's the same thing with any type of, investment, precious metals, cryptocurrency. Once it starts to hit off is when everybody wants to get involved. Instead of buying it when there's no traction, buying it when it's low, people buy it when it's high and sell on the low. It happens all the time. It's stupid.
Yeah,
But that would suck for all the people that are getting into precious metals now. If gold and silver were to drop and find its new floor, say it goes from 64, the hype kind of dies down, then it drops down, it finds its new floor between 40 and 50. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people. And granted, silver and gold will climb back up and it will continue to climb, but now they're going to have to work that value. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's better
like
buying
no
low and then
cost
seeing it
average would be
climb.
down.
Yeah. It's better buying it low, seeing it climb, than buying it high, seeing it drop, and then have to climb all the way back past your number. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's ever. I think now silver and gold's actually catching up to its value, its true value, because it was manipulated for years. But whatever's happening, there needs to be a new floor. It needs to settle down a little. We get the point. Silver's at 64, gold's at 43. It skipped all these numbers. It didn't even sit at 30, didn't even get a chance to blink. At the 40s, didn't even freaking blink. 50s, 60s. You know, now it needs to, settle down and find a floor. And I know for you pumpers out there, you might not like to hear it. And, I don't care if you like it or not. Silver and gold need to find a new floor and sit there for a little bit. and calm down. And that's all I got to say about that.
Hey, have you ever played the ratio? Have you ever played the silver to gold ratio?
Who?
It's at like 67 now, and I've never really thought about it much, but I know that in theory, you can go into a coin shop and trade 67 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold, but you're still going to have to pay a premium on that gold, right? And you're going to lose your premium on the silver.
You got to find a coin shop. That's what I'm saying. If you have a good relationship, build a good relationship where they will do an even trade. They won't
Yeah,
calculate the premiums because some coin shops, you'll go to trade and play the ratio and they'll want to charge you the premium on the gold. You know what I
yeah,
mean? The best way of doing it, if you're going to play it, bring the most generic silver you got. Buffaloes, uh, generic 5 ounce, 10 ounce bars, like generic stuff that you paid a low premium, and build a relationship with your coin shop guy and trade for like an eagle or a buffalo. If you can do an even swap for the ratio, the exact numbers, then that's a win. But coin shops don't like doing that shit unless it works for them.
they probably really wouldn't want to do it now because I don't imagine too many coin shops out there moving a bunch of volume of silver right now.
Well, it would be easier for them to move, especially now, rounds, generic rounds, 1 ounce bars.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So if someone walked into the coin shop with, what's it now, 69 to 1? What is it?
I think it was 67.
67 to 1. You bring in there, 6 tubes of 67 buffalo rounds.
Yeah,
He's gonna like that because more people now, like I said, whoever's stacking, they're not going in there and spending thousands of dollars at a time, especially with the prices and everything. You know, you get the most. You have your people that go in there and spend a lot of money, but the majority of coin shops, and you can ask any coin shop around the world, someone will walk in. Let me get 5 ounces. Someone else will walk in. Let me get 2 buffaloes. Someone else will walk in. Let me get a tube of Mercs. Little purchases, and they're consistent. I mean, they come,
right.
my coin shop guy, there's a guy that comes, and buys an ounce of silver each week. Each paycheck, he buys an ounce of silver. You know what I mean? And that's where, the smaller sizes where they would rather have. They rather have the smaller stuff because it's easier to move now. I mean, kilo silver bars, 10 ounce, 100 ounce bars, 1 ounces of gold right now is kind of hard to move for a lot of these coin shops. Silver and Cigars
I'm
just
gonna
says, I
go.
get 90% from my crackhead coworker, dimes for 2 and quarters for 4. Hey, let me get
That's
on in that deal.
that's a good deal.
Tell him to smoke some more crack. Get him down to $1 on the dimes and 2 on the quarters. Yeah, just like
Well, I'm
you
gonna
see.
think on that ratio and see what happens come Saturday. If it's still right around where it's at today, it's well, it sounds so strange to say that because tomorrow's Friday, but who the hell knows what it's going to be at when we wake up in the morning, right?
Yeah.
um,
Um, did you see
I
what
think
the
one of
one?
the first things I texted you this morning was it like it was at 62 or something like that?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, a few hours later, it was at 64. But you see the one guy there, I can't pronounce his name. Starts with a J. Sorry, man. But he says if shops are sitting on a bunch of gold, maybe they'll want quicker moving silver. So
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. The 1 ounce rounds, 1 ounce bars. They want smaller stuff so they can sell it and move it quicker. Right now, 100 ounce bars and 1 ounce of gold are hard to move. Kilo bars hard to move.
Well, maybe I'll see. He had a couple of nice $10 Indians in there.
Dude, I would go big. I would just walk in there, bring 67 ounces of silver and get an ounce of gold,
Yeah,
or get it like a 10 $20 Liberty, because you already have the Saint.
yeah.
Or maybe you can get two $10, an Indian and a Liberty.
I'd have to I'd have to talk it over with Mrs.
Yeah.
and then go see what he'd have to say about it. But
See, I don't really play the ratio. I really never messed with it. If I
I
wanted
never
gold,
have
I would.
either.
Yeah. Because if I wanted gold, I got gold. If I wanted silver, I got silver. It just, depended on the week or the month or whatever. But I never played the ratio. A lot of people do, and a lot of people swear by it, but I've never messed with it because I always felt like somebody came out better on a deal. And that person was always the coin shop or the dealer.
Yeah,
So I never messed with it. And to be fair, everything that's in my stack, I'm very attached to. All the silver I have, all the gold I have, I'm very attached. I would feel like shit, even if it came out on my end, bringing 67 ounces of silver and getting an ounce of gold, because that silver for some reason means more to me than that 1 ounce buffalo. The buffaloes and eagles I have, or I paid cash for them. I wanted them for my stack, and I bought them.
yeah.
So I would just, I just like to keep everything in my stack. And I even my wife says to me, she's like, "How, when that day comes to sell your silver and gold, how the hell are you gonna do it?" I said, "I don't know, and I'm not looking forward to it,
Oh,
but
it was
it's gonna
sad. It was
happen."
sad for us. It was pretty sad for us. It I was me and the wife were talking about it, and God, we don't even feel like stackers anymore. Now that we sold,
Yeah.
even though we still got a bunch. But
Dude, I even hate trading.
yeah,
There's been
well,
times where I traded, I had maybe a few vintage bars that somebody else wanted, and that person had a few vintage bars that I wanted. There's been a few times where I've traded vintage for vintage. You know what I mean? And then I would like, yeah, I got that one vintage bar that I wanted, but I was like, man, I miss my bar. I hate doing it. If I want something, I'll just pay for it.
yeah.
I don't really like trading. I don't play the gold and silver ratio. If I buy gold, I buy silver.
Adventures with Eddie's says, "Where's the top in silver?"
Hopefully no
Nobody
more.
knows.
Hopefully no more than where it's at.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
what are
Hopefully
you
not much
talking?
more.
What are you talking? The top of silver as of recently? Where's the top going to be? Or like long term? Because when I'm about to sell, I hope silver's $10,000 an ounce. That would be freaking great. But when I'm stacking still, I want silver at like a good number for me would be like 40, 45. That would be nice. I can't believe I'm
Yeah,
saying that. I can't believe I'm saying that. If it was up to me, I'd like to, r- r- you know, go back to 2023 and buy silver for 25 an ounce. But you know,
no,
we
I'd definitely like to see it at around 30 again. Between 30 and 40 wouldn't be bad.
or even if it just gives us a dip. You remember when it was 2.5 years ago. Silver was at like 28, and then it gave us it jumped up. It did that spike there where it got like past the 25. It was
Yeah,
at like between that 25 to $31 an ounce. And it was like that for a few months. And then gold hit the 2000 because it was
yeah,
like at 18, between 15 and 18. Then it went to 2000. You remember it was sitting there for like 3 months. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden there was a dip, and we had a dip for like a year where silver went down as low as 16 an ounce, gold went down to 1600 an ounce. Even if it just gave us a dip right after Christmas, and that dip lasted, I'm not talking a dollar dip. I'm talking like back down to, you know, even high 40s, low 50s. If it just gave us a good dip and settled down for a little bit and then continued to rise, I'd be happy with that. You know, something. It just silver, regardless. Silver and gold needs to find its new floor. Gold is
It
sitting
does.
between that 42 and 43. It hasn't been moving as much as crazy as silver has been. Silver is outperforming gold big time. Um, but silver just needs to find its new floor. I think gold is at its new floor or around there. But for the longest time, wasn't it like along the gold ratio, silver and gold ratio? It was usually like between 90 to 101
Yeah, yeah.
for the longest
I
time.
got up to well, don't get me lying, but I could have swore I seen it like at 107 to 1.
Yeah, for the longest time. So I don't know, man. Hey, thanks for the gift. Someone sent a gift. I don't know who it was. Doesn't say. Oh wait, adventures,
Adventures with
adventures with
Eddie.
Eddie. Thank you. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. That's awesome. Thank you. Um, let's see, trying to read this Kitco chart today. What am I doing here? I mean, it didn't really move too much today.
Yeah.
It's sitting at $4,271.50 right now.
All right. Here's a question for the chat. If silver hits 100, put a money sign in the comments if you're selling. Not if when silver hits 100. Who's selling their stack? Put a money symbol in the chat. Eddie says it's almost 6-7. Is that
Yeah,
that's my kids say that all the
like I said.
time.
Oh,
Oh my god, what the hell does that
luckily,
mean?
I have no idea, but luckily my kids don't say it that very
Oh
often.
my god.
It
My
drives me crazy.
You know how my daughter gets me to say it? My
How's
daughter
that?
my daughter's she's 7 and she says,
Uh
"How
huh.
old was I last year?" And I was like 6. And then she's like, "How old am I now?" 7. And she would laugh and then she starts laughing. "Haha, you said 6-7." I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell does that mean?" I mean, it's better than with the shit they were saying, a few months ago. Riz, Gyat, Skibbity toilet, all this, and then and then brain rot. You ever hear that Italian brain rot?
Oh man, yeah.
Oh my god, what's the one? Tum 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 Sephora, trippy troppy trippy or some shit. It's so stupid, so
Man,
stupid. And I thought the stuff I said as a kid was stupid. The stuff today, man. Oh my god. Nickel says 125. He's selling. Eddie says I'll trade a few thousand of ounces for a house. I'm a
that
vintage dealer, and what concerns me is that all these old pours are now being melted due to premium vanishing. The rare is becoming rarer. I have stuff that was at 60 to 70 ounce back at Jeff. Exactly. So funny thing is, I love vintage silver. I'm a big vintage silver stacker. I was just talking about this in a previous video. Um, a few years ago, I bought actually a few weeks ago. Well, it's been a month now. I bought an Engelhart Bull logo. That exact bar when silver was at $25 an ounce was 500 to 550 a piece. This is when silver was $25 an ounce. I bought that bar when silver was at 40, just I can't believe it. 3 weeks ago, silver was at $47. I bought that bar for 540 3 weeks ago. Three weeks to a month ago. So vintage bar, it's sad, but these dealers now they're practically giving away vintage bars for spot, $1, $2 over spot. They're not getting the premiums they were, and in a lot of these uh, you know, they'll have them in the shops and end up sending them out to get melted because, you have certain people have to have an eye for the vintage and like the vintage. But there's a lot of people that'll walk into the coin shops instead of they'll be staring at this beautiful Engelhart bar, or Hoffman bar, or, you know, uh, you know, these beautiful vintage bars, and they'll buy something else, and then they'll end up sitting on them and end up melting them. I've noticed that. The only way to sell vintage now and hopefully get the price you're at wanting for it is through eBay. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the only thing, because coin shops, peer to peer, um, you're not getting those premiums that you were. And I'm with you. Like my vintage silver bars, I'll be dead before I brought it to a coin shop and sold them for spot. And I don't wouldn't want to go to eBay to sell them either because of fees they charge you. But
yeah,
if I were to offload my vintage, luckily I have a few people in the community that that love vintage that I could probably sell. Maybe not get the exact price I want, but get pretty close to it. But yeah, I mean, that's why I said to you too, Wes. I said now is the time to buy vintage silver.
oh
Vintage
yeah,
silver, numismatics, and 90% silver. The premiums are extremely low on 90%. There's practically no premium. It's spot, below spot. Um, Vintage silver bars are going for the same price as regular generic bars,
regular
practically.
generic bars. You
Yeah,
know
and
that
then
that's both LCSs next to me. You know the one I go to, the Vault. He says silver is silver. You know now he will keep back some of the Inglehards or some of the other bars, but the other one last time I was there, the owner told me the same thing. He says that it's just silver, whether it's
oh,
vintage or then
yeah,
neither one of them can figure out who the hell came up with that phrase for silver, vintage. I mean, if
yeah,
you want, you know, 90%, 90% would is should be considered vintage, right?
yeah,
So to
yeah,
them, they just, they've told me, silver, silver, it's whether it's Engelhard or Johnson Matthey or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
I
exactly.
picked up that Spokane Bullion bar, Spokane Bullion Inc. Um, I picked it up for like $1 over spot,
Yeah,
and I I was showing it off, and I think it was Stack That Gold was like, dude, you got something pretty rare right there.
that's what I'm
And I was like,
saying.
what do you mean rare? And he's like, well, like there's probably less than 500 of them. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, cool.
I
He
got
sold it
I
to me for spot, basically.
I got vintage bars in my stack where I've paid practically spot, maybe a dollar, $2 over spot, and then I have vintage bars in my stack where I've paid $10 to $15 over spot. But I
Yeah,
got bars, vintage stuff that I could sell for $10,000 just for one bar. I have an old rare Delta bar. Um, I've got some bars that I could sell for a lot of money. But the problem is finding that someone to buy it. You
yeah,
got to have that collector. There's a collector's price on it, and that's what, like I told you, like I'm not really a collector. I'm a stacker through and through. This anything that I buy that has a high premium, the stuff that I do collect, I keep outside my stack. I don't calculate those prices with my stack. So
yeah,
like my mint state slabbed commemorative half dollars, my mint state toned Morgans, um, some of my vintage bars, not the vintage bars that I've paid close to spot. Those I put into my stack, but like the vintage bars where I did splurge and spent, maybe $500 over the silver worth, that's in my collection. That's not stuff that if something happens to me, I'm sending my wife with the box to the coin shop to sell. That
yeah,
is stuff that's going to get passed down through the kids, uh, get thrown on find the right dealer, the right buyer for the stuff. That is not the stuff that's gonna, you know, go in the generic bin. You know what I mean? Um,
You
but
know,
yeah, I
I
mean,
I'd like to say I'm a stacker, but I wind up getting some shit that that would be for collectors. Not
every
necessarily old numismatics, but
yeah,
you know, like like I like this 2024 flowing hair medallion,
yeah.
or medal, whatever the hell they were calling it. I mean, I fell for it, and
What's
you
that
know what?
world? Is that
Surprisingly,
worldwide mint? Is that worldwide mint? Look on the back
no,
of it. Should have a stamp.
it's from the U.S. Mint.
That's an
Just that
old.
you were in the 2024, yeah, flowing hair.
They
The
have.
the
I had a worldwide mint. I think it was from
uh-huh,
like 1981. Same round, but it was different maker, but the
yeah,
vintage round. But
yeah. No, this is the 2024, and I think I whatever it was going for, like 104 dollars or something, and
every
it,
sta- every stacker has a sweet spot for something.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You'll have people that swear that I only buy this generic. Uh, you know, everybody has a sweet spot for something. And there's always that item that you will pay a little bit more just to have it. Even if it's a desk piece, if it's something you want to throw on the mantle or frame, something you want to put in the safe somewhere stacked deep, or something you just want to show off. Everybody has that little thing, you know what I mean? It's just keeping it separated from your stack. Don't
yeah,
buy something that's, $100 over the premium and then, put it in your spreadsheet for your stack. Cause and include it with your stack because you'll mess up your you mess up your average big time.
yeah.
You keep that separated.
So
Like Offspring, the
just
song got to keep it separated.
the I just googled it real quick, and the price of that 2024 flowing hair. It's still going at, as far as I see, on Walmart, which always sounds strange freaking saying Walmart, but
Mhm.
it's shipped through Atmex and they still have it priced at the hell was it? $364.
Yeah.
So I mean that one's kind of held its value, as far as the I'm sure it was really hyped up when it first came out.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, look
but
at those Garasopa bars. What they're
yeah,
going for now.
but looking back on it now, I could have got 4 ounces of silver for that, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of
I mean, it's
one,
crazy.
I have to have four.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I used to be a big guy about like everyone would, there would have these guys on the community that would say, all silver is equal. All silver is
Uh,
the same, right? There'd always be those guys, silver, silver. Well, I was one of those guys that not all silver is created equal. Some silver has more premium. Some silver, every silver was different.
yeah,
But now with the current prices, I can really say that all silver is created equal now. There is like there that said that I think his name was Ed. No, Jeff. He says he's a vintage bar dealer. He can't get the money for the vintage bars that he used to get. You know what I mean? And that's good. I see that all. Like I went to that coin shop a month ago. That coin show a month ago. They were selling vintage bars, and I wish I had. I was going crazy with the 90% when I went there because the
yeah,
prices were so good. So, but if I brought more money, I would have bought a lot of vintage bars because they were prices that were unbelievable. But I kept on saying, you know what you got here? This bar right now, you could sell for the right person $600, $700, $800. Why are you selling it for this? You know what I mean? And he's like, I can't move it. No one's going to buy it. I said that all you need is that right person. He said, but I don't want to sit on it. I said, oh, okay. For me personally, and I know he's in business, but you know, the bullion you sell. You know, you don't sit on that. The 90% you sell, you don't sit on it. But like the vintage, if I was a coin shop owner and I have a few vintage bars that I know what I can get for them for the right buyer,
Yeah.
I'll lock them away and wait a little. But he didn't. He wanted to sell them, and I ended up buying those two Engelhart bars off him. But the prices that it was all the same. Everything was spot or $1 over, or $2 over. The Engelhart, the bull logo, I think I spent $3 over. Like I said, that bar when silver was $25 an ounce would have been a $500 bar at that time. That bar today, well, that bar when I bought it, when silver was at 40, high 47, 48, I bought it for $3 over spot. So, that's crazy. So, silver, they're treating the
So,
silver the same, the same.
I see a couple of these Garisopa bars on eBay.
They're $900.
This 10-ounce bar, somebody's it's pre-owned eBay. It's 1770. They're asking for it.
Yeah.
The other one they're asking $2,050
Oh, they really
for a
want to.
10-ounce bar. Wow.
And when I bought, it was me and Silver Gold Stack Attack. We were searching for these Garisopa bars. We were looking for these 10-ounce Garisopa bars. I found somebody on eBay that was selling them. He had two left. No, he had three left. He bought one. I bought the two of them. And we
Yeah.
paid a premium then. I think at the time, standard 10-ounce bar was like $280. We paid $340. So we spent over the premium. We spent a good premium on it. Not a crazy premium, but I'm happy I did because right now the comps on them are like you just said, they're freaking a grand, $2,000, $1,500. Now, granted, you got to sit on it. It's gonna those people at where it's listed at those prices, they're gonna sit on it for a while, but it will sell eventually for the right person.
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy I bought. I mean, even if I got it, if someone came up to me right now and said, "Hey, I'll give you $700," I'm now I'm not. Don't take me seriously. I'm not selling it, but I still made money because I
Yeah.
spent 340. If someone came up to me with, they gave me 650, that would be almost spot. But you know,
That freaking Star Metal bar you picked up.
that's
You just
nice, right?
that sucker's nice.
That's sexy,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
That's a beautiful bar. The Ocean, Silver Ocean, he gets some nice stuff for an auction. His auctions, he gets some really nice stuff, and it's funny because he buys off me usually every month. I'll sell him a few things. Last month I sold him some Morgans and peace dollars, and then no, that was 2 months ago. And then this month I sold him two Eagles, 1/10 gold Eagles. So he buys off me, and then I go on his auction, I buy off him. But if I had the extra money, I would have bought that Star 10-ounce bar off him because he had a Star, same one, 10-ounce bar. And then he had a Nevada, I forgot, Nevada or Denver, um, 10-ounce, 11-ounce bar. I would have bought that off him. But I was like, I don't really have it to swing right now. So I at least walked away with that 5-ounce. It's actually 5.40 ounces, 5.4. But dude, I love it. I love it. It's from the 70s. And check the comps on eBay. That bar on eBay right now is going, and again, if someone's willing to pay for it, but the prices I see on eBay right now is between 5 and $700, and and the ones I've seen was 5.20, 5.22. I got 5.40. So, and it's from the 70s. That sucker's old. Well, not old, old, but it's, for a silver bar, that's pretty old, you know? Just all the hands that it's been through and how it made it out of the '80s without being melted is, shocking, you know? But yeah, that was anyone that, not familiar with Silver Oceans, and I'm sure everybody in the chat is familiar with Silver Oceans. Check out his auctions. He does an auction every month, and it's usually on the weekends. He does a back to back. I think it's Friday and Saturday. Um, and he gets a wide variety of good stuff. And I'm going to start doing auctions here soon too. I've been building up. Every time I go to the coin shop, I'll buy a few ounces of, few rounds, few bars, just cool little vintage stuff, cool little things that sell on auctions. The problem is with the current prices. I mean, even when I did auctions in the past, it was hard moving big weight.
Yeah.
People when they go to auctions, they like ounce, 2 ounce. You might be able to sell a 5 ounce here and there, but like it's very hard selling anything above 10 ounces on auctions. And I felt bad because, Oceans, he does really good with his auctions. He sells a lot of stuff, but like there was some beautiful 10-ounce bars, vintage stuff that he had up that I was surprised no one bought them. And I understand, they're expensive now, but like those vintage bars that he had up don't come across often. And I was nervous, like if no one bought them, I was gonna hit them up, but I was like, man, hope no one buys them. No one did. I was like, damn, because I wanted to have a chance at them. But no one pulled the trigger.
Somebody has one of those the star metals. It's 5.47 ounces.
Oh yeah, what are you
Ford
selling for?
second generation bar for 750. That's what they're asking for on eBay.
Yeah,
That's the almost 5.5 ounces. The 10 ounce, what 10 and a quarter ounce bar, their person's asking 745 for it.
see what I mean? 5 ounces are usually more rare than 10 ounces. They
Yeah.
don't make they don't, especially when it comes to vintage. Like if you go on eBay right now and you look at 5 ounce Engelhart versus 10 ounce
Uh,
Engelhart, Um, there's a lot of 5 ounce Engelhart where you can get the same price for a 10 ounce Engelhart. I mean, there's, 5 ounces are, especially if you go on allengelhart.com, the 5 ounces have lower mintages than the 10
yeah.
ounces, than, pretty much all the 10 ounces. Um, the 5 ounces are usually the rarest when it comes to, vintage. And even with like newer generic, there's a lot more 10 ounces than 5 ounces. There's a bigger variety in 10 ounce than 5 ounce. You know, like when I go on the white websites and I'll type in like 5 ounce, there's the three common 5 ounce bars you see all the time. It's the one, I think there's Sunshine and Silvertown, with
Yeah.
the one with the Morgan on it, the one with the Walking Liberty on it. Um, then there's the Pony. They're pretty much the Atmex 5 ounce. They're all you know, there's not a wide variety of 5 ounces. That's another reason why I've never stacked them before. I just never got into the 5 ounce bars. I just thought they were odd weight. I thought they were just, but now, I'm a sucker for them. I've been buying them left and right.
This buddy of mine over here in Midland, he has the hell's it called? WH Foster bar. And I think it's
Yeah,
5 ounces.
Foster. Those are beautiful.
Um,
Foster's a big brand. Hoffman and Hoffman. You got MG, which is I think it's California Crown Mint or something. There's AGS, uh, American Gold and Silver. There's Star Metals, Engelhart, Johnson Matthey, Delta, Phoenix, um, Eagle. There's Nevada Coin Exchange, International Coin Exchange. I mean, vintage RCM bars. There's so many vintage. I'm telling you, the 60s, 70s, and 80s was like the king of private mints. there was so many mints and so many people pouring silver and so much stuff, that came out of that time.
Yeah.
There'll be, new vintage bars popping up on YouTube. I'll be watching videos and be like, "Wow, I've never seen that bar before," you know, and come to find out, it was another vintage mint back in the day. And then you had those art bars too, during the '70s where, a lot of the mints got fancy and they started, making art, doing these pictures on
Yeah.
these bars and colorizing bars. And I'm not a fan of colorized bars. I don't really care for them, but they started getting fancy with the art bars. But I want to
You
get that
know, but,
art bar book that's on eBay. It goes through like vintage bars and art. It's like gives you info on it. But that book's
yeah.
like a hundred bucks on eBay for a freaking book.
I mean, God, it's hard to think, that or vintage. I mean, 70s and 80s is considered vintage, there and some the older stuff obviously, but
Well, for
yeah, I mean,
silver.
I don't feel very vintage.
Well, for
And
silver.
I guess
You know
part
what
of
I
that
mean?
is because the stuff didn't survive the
The
big melt.
80s.
Yeah,
Well, look at cars now. You know what it takes for a vehicle to go under classic insurance? 20 years. So a 2005 Chevy Explorer or a Chevy Silverado you can register that under classic insurance. So a car is considered vintage after 20 years.
yeah,
So, silver, I don't know, I consider
yeah, man.
silver vint
So a
you know,
car that came out in the 2000s
2005.
is a fucking classic.
Yeah, yeah, a 2005 and below is considered classic. Yeah, it's crazy. So if anyone's driving a 2005 or older, screw the insurance you're paying. Go and get insurance with Haggerty, and you could pay like $30 a month. My '73 Ford, I have it under Haggerty, and I pay like $36 a month. My insurance on my side by side is more expensive than the '73 Ford pickup that I drive on the road. It makes no sense. But yeah, it's crazy. 20 years is considered a vintage car. So before you know it, yeah, well, there's different so you'd have to match it up exactly. But yeah, it could be, man. Like I said, the cool thing with all Engelhart too, there's other bullion mints that are kind of affiliated with them in a way. And they have info on all of them. Like there's Delta, there's Spokane, you can find out a lot of info on allengelhart.com. I love that site. Whoever created that site, they did a great job for the community, especially for vintage stacking enthusiasts. Really? Yeah, yeah. I think it's an older one. I did the research. I think it was from 70 or it was early or late '70s. I said or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. On their time off. Yeah. Just a bunch of vintage stackers that, got together and created the site and keeping people informed. And there's stuff too, where they don't even know about that, or people will find out in the world, and come to find out it'll be a one of one vintage bar or one of 10 or something. They'll send a picture, and they'll make a whole new page for it and say, "Hey, we didn't know about this one. This one was made in so and so, and it was an error." It's really cool. They update it, and you'll get an email when they find something new. It's cool. But um, Jeff LaFave, if shoot me an email. I'm definitely interested in some vintage if you ship. Like to see what you got. I'm a sucker for vintage silver. I love vintage silver. You know what I want to get, West? I want to get me a silver bar from like the late 1800s, like a cowboy silver bar. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know if you guys or anybody in the chat plays video games. I'm not much of a video game player, but when I do play video games, I love Red Dead Redemption. That game is freaking awesome. And then like there's a couple scenes where you can like loot boxes and you'll get gold bars, right? And I've looked up vintage, like 1800 silver and gold bars. You see more gold bars than silver bars, but there's a few ones that were like made in the 1800s that I've seen pictures of, and the early 1900s. Oh, dude, I would love to get one of them. Oh, that would be awesome. Mhm. Yeah. Well, there. Yeah, no, I would want an American vintage silver bar. Like, I wouldn't want one from a different country. I'd want, like, an American made in Nevada or in California somewhere. That's what I would want. Arizona. Yeah, something. Something out there in the Midwest, you know? I would love to get a vintage silver bar from the Midwest. Like, I'm talking, like, late 1800s, early 1900s, before, we started really kicking off, But yeah, the Englehart, that was the Scottsdale of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Englehart, uh, I can hear you. Maybe you cut out for a second. Put a put a one in the chat if you can hear West Texas. Put a two in the chat if you can't. None at all. Is it on your end, 210? Can anybody else hear us? Jeff can't hear us. He can hear he can hear, yeah, that's what I mean. He can hear me, he can't hear you. Huh, that is weird. Maybe did you accidentally mute yourself? Maybe turn up the volume maybe, or hit the mute button. Hit the mute button and unhit it. Hmm, that is weird. All right. Hmm. It's weird. We're gonna add him back in. We'll see if that fixed it. Hopefully. But yeah, Jeff, if you do sell vintage, shoot me an email.
Okay.
Can
How's
you
it now?
guys
Is it
can you
better?
hear it west? Can you guys hear west? Let's see.
Wow, that was strange, man, because I
Yeah,
haven't touched
yeah.
nothing and it was going good for a while. Huh.
Maybe the banks are mad at us because
Okay,
we're
I'm
not.
back now. Yeah,
Maybe the
that
banks
was
are
odd.
trying to shut you down because we're talking. We don't like silver going up so high so quick.
Oh
We gotta
man,
stop. We
you
gotta
know
stop
what?
these guys.
I think the paper market is driving the price. I think that's probably one of the driving forces behind the price,
Yeah, or it's
which is
China and
strange
Russia
because it's
buying up
going
all the
up.
silver and gold.
Yeah, which is strange because you would think that all these people are trying to cash out right now. There's probably imagine all the people that are trying to cash out on their paper silver at
Yeah,
once. They don't have enough. They don't have enough physical silver or enough money to ever fulfill those contracts like that.
I would never ever buy paper silver or gold.
No,
Never,
no.
never, ever.
I might do copper.
The only paper, silver, and gold I'd buy, and even this I'm not a fan of, would be gold bucks.
Gold bucks. Yeah, uh,
Whatever they're called.
yeah. That's crazy, man. That oh, and I googled the pros and cons from gold bucks to fractional gold,
Yeah.
and it was just like you could tell that it was AI generated, but you could tell that it was heavily influenced by the makers of gold backs.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
no, jeez.
Absolutely.
There's thousands of stores where you can use them as currency throughout the country, and I'm like, no, no, there's not.
No, there's not. There was a guy that did a video with in Nevada, and he went to quite a bit of stores, and out of like the 50 stores he went to, only three accepted the gold backs.
Yeah,
And when they give you change, they don't give you change back in gold backs.
no, no, they're just
They
dimes
give
and
you yeah, they give you change, whatever, they give you cash. So, it's just a stupid idea. Only way it's gonna work is if every store took it.
yeah,
If every store would take it, and if you got like the big stores, like Walmart and stuff, or if they also made a card, like a credit card or a debit card, where you can like put all your gold bucks in it, gold backs in it, and you can just swipe the card, so you don't have to get back change. But if you want to
yeah.
withdraw gold bucks, gold backs or whatever the hell they're called, you can go to certain spots to withdraw it. You know what I mean? Kind of like a bank, right?
Yeah.
But just with gold. They should do that. They should make like a gold back debit card.
Now
You
that
know,
that now I've heard that they'll
Transient's
shit, I
heading to
forget.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge, man.
See if they got
Um,
any vintage silver bars down there.
oh god, I bet they would.
Oh yeah.
I mean Baton Rouge and New Orleans, man, they probably have some coin shops there
Oh, I'm
that'll
sure.
blow your mind.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
the
god.
goldbacks, man, I guess you can sell them back to the company,
Yeah, how much less are they
and
paying you?
they'll give and according to what everybody says is they'll give them back to you at the going rate.
Huh? We should
You
test
know,
that. We should do a video. We
Shit,
should. We should.
I ain't got enough of them to send back to them.
What's it? One gold back, $8 or something?
Something like that. Hell, I
Yeah,
haven't
call
looked.
them back. I'll call them up and say, "Hey, I want to exchange my gold backs. How much you paying?" Oh, we're paying $6 back.
Um, Shit, man, I don't know where to look. I ain't gonna lie, I did buy 2 of those 5 Florida Goldbacks.
They're cool, man. I mean, they're
Yeah,
cool.
I
You know,
gave
they're
one to
cool
the
to
owner of
have.
the
Just
I gave one to the owner of the vault, and then and
they're unique.
one to Mrs.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few. I think they're cool. They're awesome. You know, I wouldn't go spend $800 on their 50 gold buck or gold back. You see what those are going for?
No,
It's
I'm
crazy.
about ready to.
Oh my god.
I'm a part of this Facebook group of they deal in the Goldbacks, and oh man, dude,
My coin
there's
shop
some
hates them.
yeah.
Hates them. He hates them. He thinks they're the stupidest thing ever, ever. He don't even buy them. He won't sell them. Hates them.
The Arizona Goldback right now on Hero Bullion is going for $8.23.
Yeah, the $50 one. What's that going for? Something like $800.
The 51 is 411. The
Well, is
100
that
one is
yeah, 100.
842.
There you go.
And you know what that is, right? You know what it is. So it's $842, and it's equivalent to a 10-ounce gold coin.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
paying how much over?
stack that like like what, $300 over? What's a 1/10? Like five and change, almost six?
Yeah, yeah, probably
Yeah.
something like that around there.
Yeah. It's crazy. But West, I think I'm gonna call it a night here soon.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wife's
10-ounce Eagle is
getting ready for
$486 there.
ready for bed.
Yeah, it's about time for
Yeah.
me to go pay attention
Freaking
to the
well,
lady.
I it's still early for you down in what time is it in Texas right now?
9:36.
Oh, you're only an hour behind me.
Yeah,
Huh. I
yeah.
thought Texas was three
Hey,
hours, or is that
good.
different parts of Texas? Wasn't it 3 hours behind
No, I think
Texas?
we're Central Time Zone here.
Huh.
Yeah, it's 9:36.
Hmm.
Oh, dude, last night, I had and God bless her for doing it and trying it, but she did a face reveal on a live stream, and she just got hammered with trolls, man.
And those people are assholes.
But yeah,
You know what I mean? You're always gonna have those assholes, and there's people that'll comment on my videos, and like I said, I'll give them a stupid remark, or I won't even respond to them. But you can't take
yeah,
those people serious, especially with the vertical live streams. You know, you
yeah,
get 100 people can come on, and they'll be just scrolling through. So but you get rude people, man. You just gotta learn to ignore it, and just keep on keeping on.
yep.
But yeah,
Ah, man, I'm gonna keep
good for your
stacking.
wife. Good for your
Yeah,
wife for going on, and I hope we see more of her on the live streams because that was cool. And you know
yeah.
what? Screw them people.
I told her, I said, next time, don't do the glass of wine before, and just make something out where you got some key talking points.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's been fun, man. It's been a fun trip.
Hell yeah.
But
But all right,
yeah,
West.
man, it
Thanks,
was good
guys,
chatting with you. Thanks everybody in the chat.
tuning in for another Silver Bros podcast. We'll be next week at 9, same time, Thursday. And yeah. I'll see you next week, man.
All right, man.
And
We'll see you next week.
keep stacking. And all right, Jeff, I'll check you out there, see what you got. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys.
It might slow us down a little bit with these prices, but don't let it stop you.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna still stack. Just I wish it was a little cheaper.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right, good.
everybody. Y'all have a great night.
You too. Bye.